Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And gosh darn it, Blue Dragon 5, I am in a super fragilistic expialidocious mode today. Because I want to talk about The Boys, the Sherman Brothers story.
Well, it's a small world after all, because I would also like to talk about The Boys, the Sherman Brothers story.
Alright, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Alright, so welcome everyone. Tonight we're talking Mr. Banks, and of course we are also talking... this was a series of 3 documentaries that came out in 2010. I think they kind of separately came out apart from each other, but they were all released in a series in 2010. There's also the acclaimed Waking Sleeping Beauty, which was all about the Disney Renaissance back in the late 80s, early 90s, and all the drama that went down with Eisenberg and wait, did I just say Eisenberg?
Yes, you did. Eisner, wow. Katzenberg, and
wow.
and Roy E. Disney, and yeah, so forth.
All right, yeah.
But, oh, that one's a great one too, by the way.
Oh yeah. I really need to find it so we can talk about that too. But
that one's very moving. But
then also there's Walt and El Grupo, which is kind of more of a loose, relaxed documentary that's all about the kind of goodwill trip to South America.
Yeah, the goodwill tour during the, I believe, World War II.
Mm-hmm. And this was a very important little piece of history for Disney because I think most importantly, this was the trip where Mary Blair really developed her style that kind of went on to define a lot of 1960s Disney products.
Oh yeah, and also it's an interesting thing that it's directed by Frank Thomas's son.
Yeah, indeed, and he also directed the documentary Frank and Ollie previously about the 2 famous animators and their friendship. That's also a really good one.
He's Frank Thomas, wonderful man. That guy, he was a big talent.
Oh yeah. But today we are here to talk about what might be the most poignant and cinematic of all the documentaries. Would you agree with that?
It's a big toss-up between this and Waking Sleeping Beauty, which is my favorite, and which is the most cinematic, particularly. But they're both equally cinematic. But I think Waking Sleeping Beauty is more format like an animated film. This one's more format like kind of your a real, well, an actual film, almost a live-action film. I mean, sorry.
So basically, it's formatted like a drama. You're trying to say?
Yeah, like a drama. I don't mean that actual things are stupid to say, but I mean, they're both good. But I think it has more of an
like you of all people,
I know
that animated movies aren't actual movies.
I couldn't quite think of the word, but I mean, Waking Sleeping is formatted a little more like an animated film to kind of fit with what that movie's about, making animated films. It's like anyway. The point is, this film is definitely very cinematic. There's a great narrative that's exposited in this whole film. It's really runs through the core of the film. It's a film that tells a story, and interestingly enough, it has kind of some unreliable bits from the narrators, or not the narrators, but unreliable main characters.
So, is there any background you want to get into before we get right into it?
Well, interesting enough, again, we're going to do something pretty ambitious here, folks. We're doing commentary on a documentary, which...
Yes, uncharted territory for us.
Which, ordinarily, if this is like any other documentary, would be difficult, but this film, again, is so cinematic. It is telling a really very interesting and moving narrative that it can be done very easily.
At first I was very much like, oh, let's do it as a discussion, but then I got to admit, 20 minutes in, I sent Blue Dragon 5 a message, and I was like, man, we got to do this as a commentary, because there's just so much good stuff to talk about here.
I remember telling Tiki in the past, oh man, this thing it's a film, it's a film telling a story. I mean, you could easily do a commentary on this.
Yeah, for sure. And also, it's worth noting that both Walt and El Grupo and Waking Sleeping Beauty both got commentaries, but this one, for some reason or another, didn't.
Yeah, which is very surprising to me because I watched those two and I'm like, oh man, this is great. You got a great documentary and even another, basically an additional documentary.
Essentially, yeah.
But then this one is, and this one probably, I'll say it, as much as I love Wake and Sleep Beauty, this one might be my favorite in terms of how emotional a story it tells.
Hmm.
'Cause, again, this one I find to be the most rewatchable, I guess. As much as I love Waking Sleep and Beauty, I'll say this is probably the most rewatchable documentary ever, because I could watch this over and over again and just be amazed by it.
And I think it's definitely worth noting that it's like you and me were obviously big Disney fans, big animation buffs in general, so there's obviously a special place in our heart for the Sherman Brothers, but if we had no idea who the Sherman Brothers were, and if we had no connection to any of this music, I think the documentary would be just as effective in just showcasing this relationship between these two brothers, because really that's what the heart of the story is.
Well, let me say this in terms of background, at least for me, my personal background with this film, if I may.
On.
My introduction to this was kind of unique. So I was watching Waking Sleep and Beauty first, because I listened to a podcast called the Pixar Podcast, and they had the directors of that film on for that. They did an interview, and I was listening to it. I mean, oh man, I have got to watch this film, and I bought it on the Disney website of all things. Bought it on the Disney website, something I'm not usually used to.
Actually, I think I got mine through the through the Disney DVD club, which my mom's a member of.
It's like it was only sold through for some reason it was like only sold through Disney means. Like you can get the theme parks too. It's like an exclusive Disney thing.
Well, that's how they did it for Frank and Ollie. Frank and Ollie, I believe you could only get Frank and Ollie at the Disney Gallery before they turned Disney Gallery into a frickin' hotel suite. But I won't get into that.
Anyway, so I saw it advertised in there like before the movie started. So you got they mentioned Walt and El Grupo, and again it was like a trilogy, as Tiki said, pretty much.
Yeah, essentially it is, which is really cool. It all kind of it's like El Grupo. It all kind of takes a different decade of Disney history and kind of defines it. You know what I mean? Because El Grupo's the 50s. This is very much, for a majority of it, is the 60s. I mean, although it goes on to other decades.
Yeah,
and then of course, Waking Sleep and Beauty is very much late 80s, early 90s.
Actually, yeah, this one's 60s to 70s. I would approximate. Okay, Grupo's 40s to 50s. This is
sure.
This is 60s to 70s, and then Waking Sleep and Beauty's 80s to 90s.
Yeah. So really, in a way, yeah, it does kind of tell this epic sort of 50-year gap in Disney history. It's great.
Very interesting, very interesting. And anyway, so yeah, I see the thing for that, and I always love the most memorable. This is going to be very important to the commentary here. I'm going to mention this during the thing. Something that really sold me on this movie, always made it stick in my head, was this wonderful thing where they played this wonderful music cue. It was so intriguing to me, it just stuck in my mind. And again, I'm not a huge Mary Poppins fan, so I mean, I pretty much almost forgot this is in the Mary Poppins movie.
Right.
It's the way it's the orchestrated version of the Tuppence song.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised this is prominent, because I've known for a long time that is a huge song in their career.
I mean, importantly, actually, it's not importantly, but it's the DVD menu score.
Yeah.
Which is just, and they play it throughout the film, and I love it when they do that. But I'm sorry, you're saying,
yeah,
saying the Tuppence theme.
It's called "Feed the Birds."
Oh, did I say Tuppence? Oh, no. Yeah, "Feed the Birds." Sorry. Of course, that's Walt Disney's. It's Walt Disney's favorite song, as we'll find out.
Yes, very much.
And
so.
very important in their career. And hearing that music, it was like this. It laid it out like a mystery, and that they do that in this film.
Exactly.
Very true. They lay it out like a mystery because the people are saying, basically when Richard Sherman saying we orchestrated a facade for this many years, and it's playing that then the harp music's coming in, like man, this sounds interesting. And there's John Lasseter. What?
All right, I think we should probably get to the actual thing, because now you're
right. So
the opening.
Right. So the point is, let me speed through this. Point is, so see that trailer is always stuck in my mind. It was like, well, I like the documentary. It's about the songs, and I'm not a huge Mary Poppins fan, but after I hear Saving Mr. Banks is coming out, so it's a little more in my mind. I watched Wake and Sleep Beauty a few times. I'm really on a Disney kick, and more importantly, last thing I'll say about it, it was on demand, and I kept missing the opening to it, but I just watched it. I get sucked in. I couldn't put the remote down. I kept watching it, I was so fascinated by it, and I keep, like, for 2 times I watched it. I was missing the beginning part, then I bought it on DVD, watched the full thing a few times because it was so wonderful, and just it blew my mind how awesome it was. And let's talk about it. So let's walk people through procedures for commentaries.
All right. Well, yeah, this is going to be a little bit different because it's a documentary, obviously, but we will do our very best to provide a commentary that you can both watch as an actual commentary over the movie if you want to copy a said movie, or I imagine for the majority of people, because like we said, this is a movie that you could only get directly through Disney, so through a Disney website or store or whatnot, so I imagine for the majority of people who don't have a copy of this movie, we will provide our very best to, just kind of go over all the facts that are presented in this movie, all the dramatic levity, and just everything,
Yeah.
And we'll try our best to make it a full podcast discussion and not just like, oh, I like this scene, I like this scene.
We'll be as detailed as we can, so there's a good chance a lot of people haven't seen this thing, so hopefully you watch this thing and be able to get what you can get out of it, but regardless, folks, check out this thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, by all means. And yeah, there's always streaming. Just saying. But all right. So also one thing to note, Blue Dragon 5, that I just think is funny. Covering this and Waking Sleeping Beauty was actually the very first thing you proposed to do with me on the channel.
Yes, I did.
So it's great that it's like all these months later, all the Batman specials and the and the Bates Motel recaps and everything we've done together, and now we're finally getting to the thing that you wanted to do in the first place.
And the reason, folks, is because Tiki couldn't find it.
Yeah, exactly.
And as soon as he finds Waking Sleeping Beauty, we can continue with this.
But hey, it's like I told you I'd let you know as soon as I found it, and I did. So Here we are. Oh God. All right, so let me get to timestamp 0 really quick. Are you on timestamp 0?
I'm on timestamp 0, so it's basically the black before we see the castle.
All right. Oh shoot, hold on. I actually think I'm. Crap. Actually, I'm on the previews really quick. Hold on.
While Tiki's setting this up, folks, listen. So set the timestamp 0 and whatnot, basically the black before the castle, and Tiki will count up and say go. So he'll say 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah. Okay. Just let me skip through this Disney DVD menu really quick. Yeah. Copyright crap, blah 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 blah, performance. I wonder how many people actually get penalized for that kind of stuff.
I don't imagine much.
How many people go to prison for 5 years for All right, well, I digress.
Well, remember Be Kind to Rewind? They kind of addressed that, but they never really answered it.
Right. Okay, so that's kind of a random place to start. So, still trying to get to timestamp 0. Okay, there we go.
The birds talking. Sorry.
Oh my God. Okay, Blue Dragon 5, I'm finally there. We can finally start this thing. I'm sorry for that.
Okay, so folks, without further ado, we're going to talk about some of our favorite people, Robert Sherman and Richard Sherman, otherwise known as the Boys. And this is the Sherman Brothers story.
All right, so with that in mind, if you have the DVD in hand and you're on timestamp 0, go ahead and press play in 1, 2, 3, go. All right, so nice to see the castle at the start of the documentary. I think that's an interesting choice. It just solidifies, this is a Disney product through and through.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's cool, because it's this is very much, has a heavy, mature, overlying theme to it. So, So nice to see Disney kind of, giving it its full support.
I'm going to say this. I think it's a very brilliantly edited film. I know I'm getting a little headed here, but I love where we're going to start.
Oh, yeah.
I love how we're going to come full circle. But just remember this opening. We're going to see Richard Sherman now right here. He's walking into into his music room with all his pictures and pictures of him and his brother, which just seeing is a really nice set piece right now. But that's going to come in place big time. And then we cut directly to Bob Sherman here, painting. One's playing music, one's painting. What? Shouldn't they both be playing music? What's happening here?
Yep.
So.
And it should also very much be noted that this movie was made, I believe, it must have been the last few years of Bob Sherman's life.
Yes.
So that makes this movie just an indispensable treasure trove portrait of the man.
Well, I believe actually, I could be wrong here. I wanted to say that the film is in. This film shot in 2008. I thought he passed away in 2010, but it could have been 10 or 12 when Bob Sherman passed away, so I'm not quite sure.
Well, regardless, it's still, like, it's great for such a guarded figure to get such a spotlight before he passed away.
Yeah.
That's something that all Sherman Brothers fans are going to hold on to.
Now let me say this. Okay, first of all, I love how we were just in Dick Sherman's office and we saw the Oscar and we transitioned to the black and white Oscars here, the 37th Academy Awards. And I love how we're starting this film. First of all, we see the two brothers separately because that's going to be important. We're going to cut between those two guys, and now we see them together and they're at the high point of their career, pretty much, in that moment.
Pretty much exactly how the opening to Waking Sleeping Beauty goes.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting. And plus, we're going to see that moment played out later on, and we're going to now have all this dimension behind it, which is exactly Waking Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. So just really good cinematic storytelling here. There's Randy Newman.
Oh yeah, and with some Toy Story behind him, appropriately enough. And a little fun fact here, I'm very impressed by. I found out by the end of this film when I first watched it. All the songs in this film, well, surprise, surprise, are done all by the Shermans. So not a piece of music in this film was not done by the Shermans, and that includes their father too, Al Sherman.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, there's my guy, John Lasseter.
Oh yeah. John Lasseter is just a man that was just born and raised on these songs. It's like he is a man whose youth was just marinated in Sherman Brothers culture.
Oh yeah. And I'll admit, the fact that John Lasseter appears in this film just swayed me more to buy this film.
Oh boy.
I like the guests we have in this film too.
Yeah, and I love that little touch. You have little animations like when Roy Disney's giving his interview, Winnie the Pooh is flying in the window.
However, I don't really see why Tigger is in there with Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller was a producer on this, believe it or not. And there's your
Tigger's a sketchy guy, and so is Ben Stiller.
Right now, Tiki, here's your favorite attraction.
Oh yeah.
Later on, we're in the Tiki room, and here's one of my favorite parts of this documentary. It caught me off guard. John Landis.
Right.
Yeah. John Landis, big comedy director. A lot of people love his movies. Blues Brothers, Animal House, you name it. Wonderful director. And I didn't know exactly how he tied into the Sherman Brothers until later on in this film. I was surprised by it.
Unfortunately, another guy that also recently passed away.
Wait, what?
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Harold Ramis. I'm sorry.
Don't scare me like that, Tiki.
My bad. Oh God. Oh Jesus Christ. That was dumb.
I love the build of that Toot Sweet song. Sweet. We're going through the songs pretty much right now. Look, right now we're seeing all these songs kind of laid out in text on the screen. It's marvelous to see how much of an impact these guys have just filling the screen with all the names of their songs.
Yeah, whenever I tell people about the Sherman Brothers, I am essentially like, and of course most people don't know their names, and I'm just like, but they owned your childhood. The Sherman Brothers owned your childhood.
Okay, I want to mention this right now. First of all, they're playing the Feed the Birds theme in that great way in the trailer. So pretty much that trailer scene is playing out right now, and the best line, it's like a wonderful mystery it's laid out for us in the beginning here. Mm-hmm. Of the Feed the Birds theme is playing, the mystery is being established, and Richard Sherman just saying, we perpetrated a facade for 50 years, and then Bob Sherman, saying like it got really tough at times, something along those lines.
Yeah. So we're kind of going through the the background of how this movie got made, and
Yes.
it's that
the Sherman cousins, I like to adorably call them.
yeah.
I'm still so impressed by the Sherman cousins made this film for their fathers. That's so moving to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how they're laying out the story. It's going to come into play later on too. So every story element in here really comes into play. They're saying like we went to the Oscars and or went to a play or something, and we sat on opposite sides of the theater. As kids, we thought that was kind of weird, and we didn't know why. And our parents told us we'd understand when we were older, and we still didn't understand.
I want to quickly mention Blue Dragon 5. I just really want to quickly mention this. This is a memory that I will always have related to the Sherman brothers, especially now that all this new stuff about them has come to light. The commentary on, I believe it was the 55th anniversary edition of Mary Poppins, or maybe the 50th anniversary edition of Mary, is something. It was an anniversary edition of Mary Poppins. And on the commentary, like, right away, right as everyone introduces themselves, you know, there's Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke, I believe the woman who played Jane.
I'm sorry, can I mention something real quick, if I may? Hold
on just 1 sec. And then there's Richard Sherman, and Richard Sherman, right at the top of the Mary Poppins commentary, he makes this comment like, I wish Bob was here, but... And then he just goes really quiet, and he's just like, but he's not around. And so I was just like, from that moment on, I was just like, oh man, the Sherman brothers must have this complicated relationship.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, that's kind of derailing from the film.
Anyway, I wanted to mention that early on we saw, speaking of Bob Sherman, I'm glad you brought that up. I like how appropriately we start by, once they're kind of playing, it gets operatic, the Feed the Birds music.
Mm-hmm.
When we're in London, we see Bob Sherman. He starts off our film visually. I like that touch because he's the older brother.
Right.
And then we go to Dick Sherman, and I love how one is in the past, one is in the present. I like that. So Richard Sherman, he's going into the childhood house that he hasn't been to for 40 years, by the way, which is a wonderful idea, taking it back to the old house.
Yeah, exactly, and have it all on film and everything.
And I love how they keep the human moments in there too, like just like testing the sound and like saying, "Oh, hi, Pop, howdy." Good moments here.
Uh-huh.
And I like how there are some mysterious elements if you don't know the Sherman brothers. Like, yeah, man, just to be completely honest, why is Bob Sherman look a little worse for wear? Yeah. Which we do find out. Big story point is going to be very important to kind of the separation element. We're going to find out later
big time.
So again, they have a wonderful mystery set up here at the beginning of the film, which I love. Every element that we're going to get regarding that mystery. But right now we're just kind of wrapped in the origin of the Sherman brothers. Which right now we're just getting a setup. It's going to be very important of the brothers just kind of having two different accounts of it. Similar accounts, mind you, but sometimes some details are going to be a little more... there are going to be more details on Richard Sherman's end, maybe a few held back on purpose, or we find out later on by Bob Sherman.
Sure, definitely.
Also, you can tell we get a vibe like how they were as kids. And Bob Sherman, he's like saying, "Oh, you let them in for pennies when they have the alley."
I love that. It's like those two are like still broken up about that. It's like, oh, it was a business. Come on, we can't just let people in for free. And then it's like Richard Sherman is just like, yeah, Bob. He was always, he always had his head in the numbers, and he never had fun with anything.
Yeah, and. Yes,
right away, you get that great contrast.
We get like the whole idea of alleyway productions. It's nice. The kids are working together even back then. Like, the parents just looking on like, oh, they're the boys, all right.
Yeah.
And right now, here's a little mention of Saving Mr. Banks right here.
Exactly.
Big scene.
When I was watching this, I was like, oh boy, this could be a trailer for Saving Mr. Banks right here.
This is a very important scene in Saving Mr. Banks, if I recall.
Absolutely.
It's kind of a nice little. It's so funny, like. It's so wonderfully edited, this film. It's a kite foreshadow of like what's going to be a big part of their success later on with this clip they're showing here of the let's go fly a kite, and basically saying they'd fly a kite when they were kids. So yeah, a little nice bit there.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean the soundtrack is just so clever how they like basically pull from the entire Sherman Brothers library to just have the soundtrack for their whole life.
Oh yeah, and I love how they use the father's music too. That was great too. So it's like
definitely. So speaking of which, here we have a little background.
We're back in 1909 right now.
Yes.
Immigrated from the old country. So yeah, their father was interested in music when they were a kid, and there's the old Biograph Studios, and a nice little piece of history there. Early days of music. He basically did the old music you would hear with the silent films.
Sure, yeah. Oh God.
And then now we're seeing the baby photos of the boys.
Yeah, and one of the big things that's going to run throughout this whole movie is the fact that they only have a 3-year age gap, but that 3-year age gap just kind of defines them.
I think it's 2.5.
Oh, is it 2.5? Okay, well, yeah, it's the same ballpark, 2.5, 3, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to nitpick.
Yeah. But I don't know, I just really love that whole idea of, like, it's like, in terms of friends and friendships, you can have friends of all different ages and whatnot, but with siblings, it's like even a year or two just seems to make such a big difference, and I think this documentary really spotlights it.
This is a funny moment. I like how Ben Stiller, he says his father, Jerry Stiller, a lot of people remember, Eddie Cantor, he used to do the tomatoes and cheese thing. He'd go around clapping his hands to the old music, and
oh God, there's John Williams.
The wonderful John Williams, composer extraordinary. I like how they did get people from the industry of score to.
Yeah, it's neat. It's very much not a straight up Disney documentary. In fact, the bulk of the subject matter is their work with Disney, but it's not the whole story. It's like really their work with Disney does take up a lot of the story because it is like where they got all their big success and everything. But there's so much more to it besides Disney, so that's what really makes this documentary shine.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of interesting just the fact that the father was this great musician that spawned our main characters who were also big into music, but in different ways, and that led to their success. The fact that they differed in their tastes, and that combined that made such great music and such memorable moments for childhoods all across the world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And this is an interesting little bit right here. Just again, the thing is, it's really not coming from any writing, which is so. I want to say the writing on this movie is great, but just the editing on this movie is great because the fact that the father goes to get a new job, but he finds out the guy that hired him is dead. So now he's stuck there, but he makes the best of a situation, even though he can't. He's finding work where he can.
Right.
The moments you kind of think would be written, but no, they're not written. This is life. Life is happening. And I think that's the reason I really like the movie. It's kind of like, almost like an Up vibe, if you will. Like, you see a life, you see a life go by.
Let me ask you this, Blue Dragon 5. How would you feel about a full-blown Sherman Brothers biopic starring Jason Schwartzman and... Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the other guy's name, unfortunately. But starring the two from Saving Mr. Banks.
Let's put a pin in that. We'll talk about that at the end.
Sure. I just think like Bob Sherman in particular really comes off as just such a multi-layered individual. Just incredibly so. Like in a weird way, Bob Sherman is almost kind of like the Pamela Travers of this story, in that he has this extremely rough demeanor to him, but throughout the course of the movie, you kind of, the layers get peeled back more and more, and you really grow to just love him.
Oh, true. Bob Sherman does have a lot of dimension. Also, Richard Sherman does too. It's kind of like it's a little more Richard Sherman. They're the inverse of each other. Richard Sherman's like kind of what Bob is on the inside, and
right.
And Richard Sherman, as we find out later on, he's got a bit of a dark streak to him, especially as you mentioned that Mary Poppins commentary. He's got a bit of a grim side to him.
Okay, well, did they bring up the marriage yet? His first marriage?
No, not yet. It's getting there.
Okay, yeah,
I'll mention that.
I don't want to pass over that.
That's very important to this guy. It's a huge
big time.
I'll mention it. Very important. I think we're gonna go into the war before we do that. Anyway. So yeah, this is again the human moments. I love that they kept this in there, and this moment coming up is so great and so human. When they're going through the house, and again, it's a 40-year-old house.
Yeah.
I don't know who's been watching or whatnot, but going through the house, he's just exploring it. The Richard Sherman, the knob off.
Oh my God.
moment. I love it. We even see our directors in the back too. Kids. And I like how the brothers, both brothers, they're good with the families, just not the brothers themselves. I mean, like they love the families.
Sure. So, yeah.
Like none of them's like, we don't see any glares against any of the other one of the other directors. It's not their sons, but they have a lot of love around there. Just a lot of
definitely. Yeah, you're right. That is a nice little thing about this documentary.
A lot of brotherly humor in this bit right here too. My favorite ones here. This is such a funny gag to me. Bob Sherman's again the brother. There's a little more blaming of the other brother. He's saying, "Well, out of occurrence, basically, he burned the school down." I love how Richard Sherman, it's cut so brilliantly. Richard Sherman says, "I didn't burn the school down. I played with matches." And you hear the directors laughing. How can you not?
Oh, God.
They have that brotherly humor there. You can tell these guys are 100% brothers. And like you said, how did your brother get attention? He had asthma. So it's like wife and husband humor in sitcoms, but with brothers,
Right. So now we get into a big focal point of the story, which is Robert Sherman being drafted to war.
Yeah, again, we're kind of getting a little bit of the mystery of kind of why Bob Sherman's a little worse for wear now in this day and age. Where Richard Sherman, and they're both pretty old guys. Richard Sherman's in much better shape than Bob Sherman. Yeah. What was the reason for that? And also, why is it that in Saving Mr. Banks, Bob Sherman has a cane?
Yes. One of my favorite details in Saving Mr. Banks.
Well, much as Jason Schwartzman, as Richard Sherman said, we're seeing in this scene right now, he was shot. And I love the vivid detail we're getting this from Bob Sherman's personal account, and we're seeing compiled the footage, which obviously is not the real footage, but it's interesting footage. Basically saying he got caught in the barb, and basically the back of his knee was shattered by a bullet, I believe.
Yeah, but this is just priceless Robert Sherman footage right here. Like I said, it's just like it's the man just going into what is most likely the darkest part of his entire life.
And I gotta say, just looking at these pictures, like there was a shot where he just kind of went into with the pictures. The look in his eyes, kind of like that defeated look that he's trying. That you can tell he kind of holds back.
Right.
It's like kind of like I can't speak for myself because I kind of have some Bob Sherman features myself in my face, but kind of like some dark circles under the eyes he's starting to get.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. It's funny because it's like with me, it's like I do suffer from bouts of depression, but it's like even when I'm like absolutely fine, people just go up to me. It's like, dude, you look so depressed. What's wrong?
A lot of people forget that as cool as it is in movies and stuff, bullet wounds don't leave that little of an impact on you. They do take a lot out of you in terms of emotional stress too.
Oh yeah.
But that was really depressing. He was like a near-death, pretty much a near-death experience. A lot of people didn't think he'd live past the week. Either he'd kill himself or he just wouldn't do that well because medicine back then, I guess, wasn't up to snuff as it is now. And this moment I love. This is such a creative moment. I love this. How Richard Sherman, we have a dark moment regaled by Bob Sherman. We have a really light moment regaled by Richard Sherman. Him discovering, like we all do, discovering that moment when we discover what we want to do in life. Richard Sherman just walking down the street, no purpose in life. Then he hears music, and he hears music. He runs home. He plays on the piano because he had to get it out of his head. And it's Rain Street, and it's he tells his father about it, and his father says, "Oh, you're gonna be a music major, like me."
Yeah,
it's so nice. It's a great moment. It's like we've all had the moment, or at least we've heard a success story with that moment.
I mean, honestly, from my personal experience, I don't know if it's this way for you, but kind of a little bit of a plug, but for me, the real key motivator to making YouTube videos was definitely Captain Logan and Geekvolution.
No, Cap is definitely he's definitely the best role model for that sort of thing.
Oh yeah. I've sent him messages just saying what an inspiration. But I digress. I digress. Back to
okay. Here we go. Well, I'm sorry, we're getting close to the big moment of which of the marriage, but we're not there yet. We're at the boys' college day. They're college boys right now.
God.
He's 2.5 years apart right there, so. Yeah. So we get to see, Sherman's going to college, and basically right now we can tell they're brothers, but they're different in their lifestyles. And I like how Richard Sherman just kind of said that when he was in the war, pretty much he got 10 years over me. He's lived more than I have.
Yeah, that's really poignant.
Okay, here we go.
Oh God, here we go.
So
Yeah.
we're starting to get there. So Dick Sherman, he's met a girl and he has a girlfriend. He got married. Youthfully he got married. Just it's like an instinctual reaction. Had a daughter, had a wife, but kind of reality struck him, as reality can be sometimes really harsh. And that's sad fact. The matter is sometimes you just can't cut it. And he left. It doesn't sound like he left on good terms either, because he was like that. It's that moment you see in the
not at all.
It's the moment you see in the old movies where it's like just the action of getting clothes is so much more potent than nowadays. It's so much more of like you're walking out on us sort of thing. And it's just the fact is the reason it's such a big moment, in case anyone's wondering, because we're dancing around it so much, is that Richard Sherman's basically the threat of like he wouldn't be able to work on music and do what he loves in this world, so he'd be forced to just make a living for the family. He couldn't take it being a young man, so he left. And yeah, he regrets his actions, but he loves like the daughter that came out of it, though. So he's.
But I must say, man, this is just like, because Richard Sherman, I mean, like we say, he definitely does have moments of darkness here and there, like that Mary Poppins commentary. But overall, the guy really strives to be like incredibly enthusiastic and incredibly just positive in all his interviews and whatnot. So this is really kind of seeing a darker side of him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, this is important. Right here, it just happened. Basically, he said he asked his brother to go there and get his clothes and his few items from the house for him. And Bob Sherman just agreed to that. And it's also appropriate that they're playing Goodbye Snoopy, the most depressing children's film.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. We should do a commentary on. We should. I want to do an entire like Peanuts marathon at some point. I've been thinking about that.
And there it is. That's called Snoopy Come Home. The point is the big point is that he asked Bob to go there and get the clothes. Obviously, it's going to be a messy situation, probably a wife crying and whatnot, I imagine. The point is Bob said to him that he doesn't want to do that, basically said, come on, Bob, I need you to do this. And basically says, okay, but you owe me one, kid. And he said, I know, Bob, I know. He says it with such sorrow, and you can tell any moment that's really dark in this one, you can tell Richard Sherman definitely regrets it.
Oh, yeah.
The man filled with regret, that's where that darkness comes from, that guy.
Sure.
And you can tell. It's a really wonderfully powerful sequence, and I was so impressed by it. It really holds up on the rewatch when you find out how that pays off in the end, which we'll get to.
Oh, definitely.
Big time. I love the payoff. The payoff to that is like it's a tragedy. It's like a Greek tragedy almost.
It really is.
Oh yeah. Again, so this movie is so cinematic, but the truth of it is, it's the telling of a life story. It's not even a movie. It's the telling of a life story that is edited so well like a movie. It's
right.
It's just the power of a lifetime. Anyway, so yes, right now this is a great moment. Really a wonderful father moment here. Al Sherman basically said, "I bet you two boys can't band together and come up with a song that a kid would trade his lunch money for."
Oh God, that little challenge.
It's
that little challenge from a father to his sons basically changed the face of pop music forever.
It did.
Oh God.
And it's Gold Can Buy Anything But Love. That was their first song together, it would appear.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the moment coming up with the father here, where he basically saves their butts pretty much. So right now the boys are kind of getting robbed of a golden opportunity, or at least they're about to. The wonderful Gene Autry, famous for his Christmas music, I know him from at least. Gene Autry, he's singing the song. It's going to be on the radio. They're spending the money in their minds, and then President Truman, I think. President Truman's about to basically release, or he's going to fire General MacArthur. What was he doing? Relieving him of duty? Or, you remember?
Yeah, it's some.
Oh, he recalled. He recalled him. Oh, asked him to resign. Okay, so he asked MacArthur to resign, and basically said he has a speech and he likes this one particular song, "An Old Soldier Never Dies."
God! And that song just like totally blew up.
Stole the thunder. So Gene Autry wants to record that one, not the one.
Oh wow!
The brothers did, and basically they're about to go down there and raise heck, because understandably so, because basically they got robbed of a golden opportunity. But luckily, Father Dearest, he comes in there and he stops them from making a big mistake, and basically says, if you can't take a hill in the chin like that in this industry, you're not cut out for it.
Oh yeah.
Which did prepare them big time for life.
Definitely, yeah. Okay, once again, just really, really good choice of soundtrack with Colonel Hathie's March.
Oh yeah, because we just went from the soldier to now we're on marching through with the life. Keep going.
And this is also, Richard Sherman Award.
Yeah, now we're on the Richard
contrast.
Oh yeah, now with that song, it's like such an appropriate song that you mentioned it.
Exactly.
This is so funny too. In Jungle Book, they're playing the Elephant March and then basically saying you really didn't do anything. You just out the army. You're basically like literally just like the training stage of the army, pretty much, and then basically says, "Stop smiling, soldier. You're in the army." The clip from Jungle Book with the elephant friend. That's so funny.
Once again, just absolutely fantastic editing. It's.
Oh yeah, and this is this is a great moment here. It's a lovely moment where Bob Sherman falls in love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wonder story that one would call BS on if they just heard it, but just seeing it unfold here is just hearing it from Bob Sherman himself saying he proposed to her on the first date, just the emotion he has behind it. And what we find out later.
Yeah, this is one of the most emotional moments.
Especially what we find out later about what happened to this relationship ultimately.
That pause.
Yeah.
Oh god, I mean, he's just legitimately about to burst into tears right
and
there.
Again, what's great is that these guys aren't actors; they're just humans emoting here, telling a story with as much passion as they can muster, because it's truly their life story. And there's wonderful little home movies of the marriage and photographs, and it's very, very, very well done here. It's a beautiful girl, his wife. He must have been really happy with her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile...
Meanwhile,
Elizabeth Sherman enters the picture, and I gotta tell you, Elizabeth Sherman, she seems like such a delightful woman from what I've seen her in this and maybe like a few interviews.
Oh, yeah.
She fits Richard Sherman so well.
This bit right here.
Yeah, it basically says on the first day he got her attention saying, "I have this record for you. I didn't exactly buy it."
She basically sizes him up like,
Jesus, he's too excited to see me, and he lies.
Oh god. And then, of course, they get married. How appropriate.
I like how they're playing that About Time song because he says he's too excited to see me. About Time. He instantly married her, not as instantly as Bob Sherman, mind you, but he did instantly marry her. The whys for these guys are very fitting. I find you don't learn much about Bob Sherman's wife, but you kind of get a sense that she fits him because she's more of a stoic character.
Yeah, right.
Again, we don't know much about the whys, so I could be stretching with that. But from what I gather, I get a sense that she's kind of stoic, and we learn that from behind the scenes she's really the reason the brothers kept together. Bob Sherman's wife, from what I understand, for all these years, basically she was the one who calmed Bob down.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I guess Elizabeth just distracted Richard Sherman.
Oh god.
I gotta say, look at the brothers here. They do look more like their movie counterparts when I see them in the old pictures.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was the most productive years of their life. I mean, they are about to literally get their big break. They're right on the cusp of it in our story.
Well, no, I mean say Mr. Banks, like Schwartzman and Novak.
Oh, what do you mean? So?
No, I mean they're when you see the pictures of them young, they look a little more like the characters than say Mr. Banks.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Still not exactly on the line, but what can you do? And now here's their angel of mercy. Well, not angel of mercy, just their angel, Annette Funicello. Disney coming in to save the day for these guys, like a little hint of Disney right here. Mouseketeer, Annette Funicello.
I really like this song.
Top, he's my own. And this is the one. There was the lightning rod here. This is the one that ignited their whole career.
Oh yeah.
Because they skyrocketed with Funicello, and then eventually got them into the good graces of Disney. Oh yeah, this is important. Yeah, this is a funny story. It's a touching story. How Bob Sherman saves them. Essentially, they had another writing partner. they had another writing partner, and he basically flipped out randomly at Richard Sherman. He tried to kill him with scissors, or attack him with scissors. And then Bob Sherman was kind of that protective older brother. Again, it's a nice moment from the past to hear about. Bob Sherman grabbed him and threw him out of there, so that's enough. Threw him out.
And that's especially poignant considering, like, a lot of this documentary, Robert Sherman is not particularly optimistic about his brother.
Yeah, he's not exactly as favorable, though. He'll make fun of him like any brother does, but then he won't exactly buy it back.
Right,
When you really think about it, he doesn't say a lot of nice things. He doesn't say any bad things. Well, he jokes about bad things. Doesn't say any good things to redeem his brother. When you really think about it, does he really say any nice things about his brother as opposed to Richard Sherman? He says nothing but nice things about his brother.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. I mean, that kind of just puts the whole thing in perspective right there, I guess. I don't know. It's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. And we're getting close to the big magic moment, and the most magical, one of the most magical moments in the film, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I just again, it's that music playing, that whole Free the Birds music playing. When it happens, oh boy, it melts your heart. So yeah, they're driving into the fence. I love this footage, by the way. Just driving into the Walt Disney Studios, which looks the same as it did in the '60s, man. And Save Mr. Banks.
Oh yeah.
Little wavy guard.
I actually think I'm not completely sure, but I think that footage might be from Wait, no, I'm completely wrong about that. Never mind.
Oh, here's the. Oh, I love seeing Walt Disney's office. Oh man, I love seeing it. Then we have the Magic Man himself, Walt Disney, and talking about how they met him. Basically, it's the movie that Lindsay Lohan redid. The one with their twins.
Oh, Parent Trap.
Yeah, Parent Trap, that's one.
Uh-huh.
Then you're talking about, at least they're, if not now, they're about to. Talking about how they came up with the song "Let's Get Together." I'm sorry. Right now, I'm talking about the Strummin' song. That was the one they first came with. Then they did the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Walt Disney calls these boys in, and he asks them to do some music, and then he says, "Oh, here's the magic moment. I'd love to see this in a Walt Disney biopic. More on that later. I'd love to see the moment where Walt Disney says that'll work, and no more questions about it. He just says." Like Bob Sherman's saying right now, he says, I didn't realize when he said it'll work, it really worked. He kept it in there.
Sure.
Oh, there's young Roy E. Disney, which is a rare sight. You rarely see the pictures of this guy when he's young.
Oh.
I don't know. I love seeing old footage of Walt Disney, though. And always powerful. The guy's got a presence.
Oh, definitely.
Now they're like so Disney's brought him back for another project. Let's get together. Yeah. We get to see the brothers working. This is an important thing. We got a black Luxo lamp in the background. Sorry, minor detail. So, we see the brothers working in their office. I like how we periodically go back to that shot because that's important. And again, I could be wrong, but I think that in Save Mr. Banks is really where all the action went down, in their office, but I could be wrong.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I'm just waiting for the Mary Poppins stuff to come on.
Well, I'm just waiting for that magic moment to happen. It's about to happen. It's, I guess it's about right here with Mary Poppins. Okay, so now we see the Mary Poppins book taken from Disney's shelf. And it's so funny, like, how this is a historic moment, because I believe the Sherman Brothers are the first people he brought on the project.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So Disney's brought this from his personal shelf, and he circled the songs, the chapters he wants to make into the movie. He asked the boys to circle chapters, and they circle the same ones. And he says, "Do you know what a nanny is?" Yeah, it's a goat. No, like a nursery. And this is the magic moment's happening, because when they start working with Mary Poppins, that's when they become Walt's boys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like the father meeting the children. It's nice.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, this is the moment right here. So basically, Richard Sherman's saying, can we have half an hour of Walt's very valuable time? And it ended up being 2 hours.
Oh, 2.5.
Oh, 2.5. Oh, man, even better. So, yeah, ends up being 2.5 hours, and he asked him to circle, like, underline the chapters he wants to make songs out of, and it's the same ones. And then here's the moment. Here's the moment. He asked them. They play him a song. The first song is "Feed the Birds," and this Walt Disney loved this song so much. The next thing he said is basically he asked him right on the spot right there, "Would you guys like to write this with me?" He said, "Yes, sir." And then he says, "Oh, here's the one that gets me." Bob Sherman with a much so emotional right here. He says, "I'd like you to come and work for me." And yeah, Richard Sherman said, "Oh, we'd love to come work for you at the studio." Oh, and just the sigh on Richard Sherman right here. When he said, he takes that pause and he says, "That was the day. That was the day." And he can't even finish what he was talking about. He just says, "That was the day."
Yeah, yeah.
Just that image right there. I love that image right there. Walt is in the middle of these two boys at the happiest moments of the boy's life.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
A.J. Carruthers, very important player here.
Is there any background you can give on him?
That was pretty much what they say in this movie. He's just one of Walt's favorite writers, and he was left out of Saving Mr. Banks, the movie, because Don DeGrody is the one that's in the movie.
Okay, right, yeah.
So,
okay.
I don't know how much involvement he truly had on things, but then again, Saving Mr. Banks took minor liberties here and there, so...
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Leonard Maltin's not in this more. Like, this is the first time he shows up.
Well, the music's an important part of the film, but it's not the story and the actors itself. It is more of the background. So I think it's appropriate how much he shows up in this film.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
But
I'm so used to him showing up on Disney DVDs because I ran the gauntlet with the Walt Disney Treasures.
Oh, I love this moment with Tinkerbell doing the old wonderful color. But
speaking on new presidents with the new California Adventure show they have, of course.
All right. Anyway, what Leonard Maltin just said was very important. I love that Leonard Maltin pointed out. Again, this documentary is also so informative, too. I learned so much about Sherman Brothers watching this thing.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, it's one of the subjects that I've always been fascinated with since that Mary Poppins commentary. So, yeah, it does a great job of illustrating everything.
I love the idea. I just love the fact that Walt Disney, he kept these guys on staff because he liked them so much. And it was unheard of back, according to Leonard Maltin, it was unheard of back in that day. Right. They have, like, songwriters you keep on the payroll through whatever project came to your fancy. Just keep them around, give them an office. Usually you bring those guys in and do something. Yeah, that's why you have so many different people doing scores on movies, or like for a studio.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays I think it comes to the point where, like, certain directors will like to work with certain composers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's the fact that Disney...
obviously we've got Elfman and Burden and stuff like that, but...
Yeah, it's just the fact that Disney gave the boys a home here at Disney. It's just so heartwarming to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he liked him. He took a liking to him and he kept him on, and they always kept surprising because Disney had faith in him. That faith inspired him. I like it.
Because, I mean, and that's something that every creative person can relate to, because it's like, you know, with creativity, no matter what you're doing, whether it be writing or songs or just doing silly little YouTube videos like you and me, the one thing that a creative person, you know, he just goes years and years and probably doesn't make any money off of his creativity, but that moment when you finally get recognized and you finally feel like, you know, my God, it's all been worth it. I mean, I've had moments like that running So You Want to Be an Imagineer, the contest, but, you know, obviously I'm still very small potatoes, but, you know what I mean, though? It's such an inspirational kind of thing to think about in terms of just being a creative person, because that moment, it's like, if you persist hard enough, and if you do have the talent, it will come.
Speaking of creativity, we're going through the Shermanization process, where you take a word and kind of come up with something, you kind of mix words and so forth, and get like fundamentability, or obviously supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Fundamentability is actually quite disturbing.
Fundamentability is catchy to me.
It's catchy, it's just the idea of the song is a little disturbing, but I digress.
Anyway, so A.J. Carruthers unfortunately passed away at the end of this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And but he was there. He was one of the writers, and he was at the Disney studio when the brothers were working there.
Right.
And so he was like literally right next to their office, or like down the same corridor, and he would hear these lyrics. So he was like, I think he's like kind of most closest to their work at Disney. And also Roy Williams. Oh, the wonderful Roy Williams here.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
You do these wonderful caricatures that also do make an appearance in Saving Mr. Banks, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, and these are a lot of true stuff here. And there's actually a deleted one that was really funny. That's in the deleted scenes for this thing. Or at least like deleted background material for this thing. There was.
I gotta say, Roy Williams and Jimmy Dodd would be another documentary I'd like to see, or just maybe a documentary about the Mickey Mouse Club in general.
That was like a mini series talking about animators at Disney.
Oh.
Anyway, or at least animation teams. I don't know, but there was a funny story where like one of the Sherman brothers, they smoke a pipe and like the ashes caught on fire, and there's a minor fire, but still the joke around Roy Williams, he draw these caricatures of like the place burning down, and like Walt saying, "What gives?" A lot of funny stuff like that. And just,
I love the moment where Richard, just kind of emotionally just displays what it's like to hit that song. He's like, "Yeah, we did it, yeah."
Well, I've been there many times.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I love seeing the brothers' creative process, but you do get a minor glimpse of it in the Save Mr. Banks film. Truly, here we get to see it in its full glory.
Definitely,
They just sit there, bounce off ideas, because as they said a little earlier while we were talking, they said it starts with an idea, then the lyrics and the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It would just it's come from this simple creative place. One brother would be playing the piano, just come up with words, and the other one would organize the words, come up with something better. Yeah, which I would say, I don't want to sound too critical, but I think Bob Sherman might be the smarter of the two.
Yeah, because Richard Sherman. Well, I mean, in a way, it's almost.
I think Richard Sherman brings the passion. Bob Sherman kind of brings the thought to it.
In a way, I kind of related a little bit towards Howard Ashman and Alan Menken a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna come into play big time later on.
Where I'd say in that relationship, Ashman brought the heart, Menken kind of brought the
enthusiasm,
the energy.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's the wonderful Tom Schumacher who made Toy Story possible. Gotta love that guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, very important. Actually, Roy Disney just made our points here, saying that Richard Sherman's a little more supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and Bob's feeding the birds.
I love that analogy. Yeah.
That's great. And again, all the footage in here
Lennon McCartney comparison also very spot on. Yeah,
they're making very good comparisons again of how they at least appeared to the world. Again, in the inside they're a little more reverse, but yeah. And I like how kind of we're getting in here with Chim Chim Shreddy, which won him the Oscar.
Yeah, yeah.
At least one of the Oscars.
Songs used to always creep me out as a kid. Especially when they go up and the criminals start shooting at them with the fireworks. That always used to scare the crap out of me. I don't know why. It was like one of those irrational childhood fear moments.
Yeah, I love John Lasseter's moment here, where he basically says that you'll never forget a Sherman Brothers moment within a film. Basically, it's what's communicated through one of the brothers' songs. These great moments. Like, these moments you just don't forget.
Right, absolutely.
As you're always saying, the unforgettable moments that come from the wonderful songs. Yeah. It's like the unspoiled moments of cinema. Here we go. So, Walt kept putting off Mary Poppins, and there was a reason for that. And I love the music cue that plays, the introduction of this next character. It's so appropriate. It's like a dramatic sting. And I love how Bob's the one who says it, because we know Bob had troubles with her.
Oh, God.
Pamela Travers.
It's almost kind of like a 60s Batman, villain theme or something like that.
I know, it's like, it's more like...
It's just a horn section. It's like, duh!
I don't see it like that. I see it more like it's a wrong piano key. Like, you have this wonderful music playing, and then someone hits the wrong key, and they just go...
Okay.
And there's the P.L. Travers expert there talking. I love this analogy too. It's a wonderfully illustrated analogy here. They got Disney and Travers, and in the bills, Sherman happy on a piano. And again, there's wonderful caricatures, most of them Roy Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And this next one coming up is the one that appeared in the movie. Oh, they both appeared in the movie, both of those images. Yeah, Bob Sherman just calling her a witch.
Right.
Yeah, John Landis kind of being the voice of truth here, saying, yeah, Miss Mary Poppins video is really Miss Mary Poppins book is a little twisted, and you should break off.
Yeah. I'd like to read that one day, because I can tell you firsthand, the Peter Pan novel, like, keep in mind Peter Pan was a play first, and then there was a novelization, but the novel, which is what I've read, is, yeah, incredibly disturbing as well.
The funniest moment just happened.
Yeah.
Walt Disney basically saying, Walt would just walk out of there when he was there. He would just walk out of there and be at his office. And basically they had the clip of Disney saying, well, I'd like to be with you, but I'm just a little too busy right now. It's such a funny moment. You can tell Walt's the truth behind that scene is that I love we have these wonderful Disney moments, then we have a little more context to them. It's just wonderful.
Right.
Where basically Walt said, the truth is Walt wants to avoid this lady like the plague. That's why he's not there. But the heartwarming Disney clip.
We got a hint of that in Saving Mr. Banks with with how he avoided inviting her to the premiere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, also a little bit of things not really in this, but in real life, Richard Sherman, he was a little more antagonistic towards her too, which actually we get a nod to in this. We see an image where Dick Sherman is saying, you hear in the audio him saying, we just want to make the best thing possible for your book, for your pile of books here, because the implication in pile of, and then we see a caricature of like someone saying, Dick, stop talking.
Oh God!
And essentially, it's a little more Bob Sherman in the movie, which then they both didn't like her. But I think Richard Sherman's he was like more playful, like I don't like you, sort of thing.
Right in the movie, yeah, they definitely kind of develop a little bit of a playful banter.
Yeah, but you feel for Bob Sherman. I like how we get a little more relationship in the movie, just like Bob Sherman he doesn't. He's like, can we just get on with the work? We got to deal with this crazy lady. And this moment, this is a wonderful one here, is wonderfully captured in St. Mr. Banks. The Spoonful of Sugar story. Now, one of our directors, mind you, one of our directors here, he's talking about how basically got the vaccine. It was basically they eat a cube with the vaccine in the cube full of sugar.
So that's interesting. One of our directors led to one of their most iconic songs. Nice.
Oh, yeah. That's the spoonful of sugar up to medicine go down, down, dun, 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 dun.
I love how it's like Richard Sherman's first reaction is instantly just like, "You're nuts."
Yeah. I like how some light stuff comes from Bob Sherman. Yeah, he's not light things happen to this guy, but still he's
right.
I love the, I don't know if it's past or not, but the comparison Julie Andrews has, or someone has, about Dick and Bob Sherman, where it says, like, Bob Sherman's, like, the more debonair guy, and where Dick Sherman's, like, the penguin from, one of the animated penguins from Mary Poppins that, like, looks at Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he says, she's doing it right now. Actually, Jane Banks, this is the girl from the movie. We're seeing the penguin right now. Swoop up and like flirt with Mary for a second.
Oh yeah,
that does fit. That does fit him.
Oh, I love that photo we just saw.
Now this is a funny story.
Yeah, I love this story. Yeah.
Just like there's Joyce Sherman.
I
believe it's Joyce Sherman. She walks up to Dick Van Dyke and says, "Hi, Bert." Basically, they rehearse the song. Like, it's a jolly holiday with Mary.
And Dick Van Dyke just seems like such an awesome, approachable guy. He
is. He is. Actually, again, he did all his own stunts in Night at the Museum.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, there might have been one that might not have been him, but I think pretty much he did all his own stunts in that movie. He got action to do in that movie, too. Anyway, I'm sorry, Dick Van Dyke's awesome. Anyway. We're at the Hollywood premiere, and again, they actually mentioned this too, that Walt hasn't been to a premiere since and Snow White. This is a big moment, and we have a big context to this. And said Mr. Banks, this is truly what happened. The true account. Well, before we get to that, right now, there's a funny moment here. Roy E. Disney's regaling us with how the Shermans were in their car, and this is before the movie premiered. Like no one knew who they were. And basically, they're looking for all the starlets, and basically, a girl looks and looking for all the starlets, and says, "No, not one's in here. No one." Then basically, Joe Sherman pops her head and says, "Yeah, we are. There's nobody here." And says, "We are too, somebody." That Joe Sherman sounds adorable. Anyway, so after the premiere, obviously there were huge hits by the end of it. At the end of the premiere, I love how this story wraps up with P.L. Travers here.
Oh.
So she approaches Disney saying, "You have to take out the animation; it's dreadful." And then Walt just says, "The ship has sailed." And I love this clip here they play. I love it so much. It's saying, "The ship has sailed." He's on a boat, and he lifts the hat with that little dun dun.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's perfect. It's Walt getting like that wink at the end of the day, which you kind of hope he gets, you know. Oh, and I love when Walt talks. Here we go. You take over this one.
Yeah.
Take over.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, like Lassiter just said, it's like that's what I love about the Tiki Room. It is essentially like stepping into an animated Disney film, like no other attraction, because it's like you go in there and everything comes to life.
Okay, so, now we're getting to It's a Small World After All.
Yeah. I'd say arguably their most famous song they've ever done.
I'm sorry, the what?
Arguably the most famous song they've ever done.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm sorry, I had something distracted me. So you just say he's the worst or the best?
No. Not worst or best, but just most famous, most well known.
Oh, definitely most famous. Definitely.
Okay, cool.
Everyone knows the song.
Interesting. It's really cool to see the Tower of Four Winds at this original World's Fair version of Small World.
I love this footage, like the advertisement footage of the ride here.
Yeah.
I love, now this is important, I love how this parallels the boys' relationship here, what Dick Sherman just said. Basically said the song's about just the simple message of like learn to respect each other. If the world just learns to respect and love each other, or they're gonna before they blow each other up.
Right.
And that parallels the brothers' struggle. They need to learn to respect and by the end they do learn this. The crux is learn to respect each other, or you're gonna blow each other up pretty much. Basically they learn they do learn to respect each other by the end of this film under I would just say
John Landis has some really good comedic beats in this movie.
I love John Landis' gag here, where John Landis is a really funny guy. I'm always sad when people don't laugh at his jokes.
Oh.
He just says, I can just imagine he's just breaking the fourth wall. I can imagine your father just sitting here and going, over the song.
Right.
And Elizabeth Sherman's little story here about them getting the bride's music stopping, and basically they all stood up and sang the song.
Oh man.
Very, very fun. But you see what I mean, though? Like the brothers do learn to respect each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Such cool footage.
Oh yeah. I love Abbott and Costello, so I appreciate this quote here by Luke Costello. It's something he wouldn't do. He wouldn't say this. Yeah, never let your wife. So it's kind of like the behind-the-scenes Luke Costello you never really hear. Now, I love how we're kind of getting to, speaking of behind the scenes, we're getting kind of the behind the lifestyles of these guys. How you find the wives really kept things together, even though they were very different, much like the brothers were.
Sure.
And how we learn that Bob Sherman was actually very extravagant with his money. Again, a very loving father. Both of them were. He's more extravagant with his money, though, and Dick is a little more tight-fisted with cash.
Uh-huh.
Not that they're bad guys or anything because of that, but just it was like a fun. You would expect that from Dick, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just showing you a little more detail with these guys. They weren't exactly as they presented themselves. And basically, like, if Bob Sherman bought his daughter like a huge church organ, she only played like twice. And like Rich Sherman, he would do things for free, but he would do things for free, and Bob was the businessman in the group. Yet Bob would spend more.
Yeah, right. Oh God.
Yeah, they did lead very different lifestyles, as AJ or others is regaling us with.
Okay,
no, this is right here.
An awesome piece of footage right here.
Oh yeah, this is the Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow song, which they came up with on the spot, by the way.
I'm not completely sure, but I believe this particular clip might still play in the queue of the Carousel of Progress at Disney World.
Not quite sure.
Yeah, I know it was there when the Extinct Attractions Club did their documentary a few years ago because they highlighted it.
I'm not sure if
it's still there.
I love what Bob Sherman's about to say here, how Walt was a very creative person like their father.
Oh.
And it just shows you that Walt Disney was a father figure for these boys. And I just love the clips of Disney here just kind of hinting at like foreboding for some darkness to come with this guy.
Oh, yeah.
How like
Every
we see
Disney documentary's got to have the section about Disney staff.
Oh, yeah, but, well, except Grupo.
Well, yeah, but...
Anyway, so yeah, anyway, so we saw some really nice Disney clips, like him doing some of his Imagineering, playing with the like the animatronic dinosaurs. Yeah, really lovely bits. Anyway, so yeah, like we're at the Oscars now, and
I'll kind of tying things back together.
Yeah. Now that we've been informed with some more information here, we're kind of seeing. Well, not as much information as I thought, but we got some more background on these guys, and we're kind of seeing like kind of some unraveling, but still at the point of their big success here, getting the eyes for Chim Chim Cheree. I love the little spy camera.
Robert Sherman's got the cane.
Yeah, he's got the cane, indeed. Like here, they don't really look like, say, Mr. Banks actors. That's me, but
yeah.
But yeah, you can only do so much. I love this little thank you speech, and there's Don DeGroy getting mentioned. Again, how he was in the movie. Yeah, I'm sure there are people we're forgetting, but we'll spend all night thinking about them. It's a wonderful day here, and they got 4 Oscars together.
Yeah.
So, and I like here they mentioned that too, like behind Julie Andrews. That's a cute picture there. Right on Julie Andrews, they're holding an Oscar behind her back, so she's not overpowered. Yeah, good for the Shermans. The peak of their success, so they're definitely getting along at this point. But then, as we can still tell by the separate pictures here, that's not going to last. Now, this is a great moment here. Again, Walt Disney is a father figure. They go in there and Walt basically they drop the Oscars on Walt's table. And, Walt's like, "Very good, boys, very good. But remember, you have the bases loaded." Just it's Walt Disney keeping them grounded like any father would, just saying, you have the bases loaded. Keep up the great work. Keep it going. Make sure you keep hitting a home run. Very, very, very good, very important. Walt,
God! What the hell is this? Oh, this must be an Annette backing. Oh yeah. Oh, holy crap! The Beach Boys?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot about this.
Anyways, what I mean about the Walt Disney thing is that it's important that Walt, as a father figure, he's keeping them grounded by he's not exactly praising them, but he's just saying, you have the bases loaded, so you gotta keep going with this. So he's congratulating them, but not giving it as directly. That's gonna be important later.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
Okay, so now we're getting to Winnie the Pooh, and the Sherman Brothers have always said that they don't do kitty songs. They do songs for kitties at times. And right here, I like how they weren't exactly enthusiastic about Winnie the Pooh until they talked to like one of the big fans of Winnie the Pooh, who were basically saying, Winnie the Pooh saved my life. He's a great character. Basically, this is one of the first times, apart from Mary Poppins, that the brothers took on a really iconic character, particularly for people in London.
Oh yeah.
And that really, just seeing how this character inspired people, really inspired them to make some great music for them. Like, in the deep of the 100-acre woods where Christopher Robin plays.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Of course, Winnie the Pooh, it's one of the few plot holes in Saving Mr. Banks because it didn't exist in the Disney canon until the uh, late
After.
60s after Mary Poppins.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor A.A. Mine.
Well, I mean, it might, a possible explanation might be, well, I was going to say maybe Disney had that in the works during Mary Poppins. It was like a test doll.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough, I can see that. All right.
Like a prototype, some prototype plush before
Right.
it officially comes out, perhaps.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so yeah, there's the two, Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Howard Ashman, unfortunately, isn't around anymore. Wonderful man.
Yeah, they're very prominent in Waking Sleepy Beauty, of course.
Oh, yeah, and Alan Menken just mentioning he'd have his daughter sit on his lap watching Winnie the Pooh.
Mm.
And it's being entrapped by the music. And again, Walt just kept him around and just kind of tell him about each upcoming project here. And the boys I love that dynamic. Walt would come in and he'd listen to the music and basically they'd talk for a while. And they enjoy that talk. Walt would just love to talk to these boys. See them work.
Really, I mean, Walt didn't really get very chummy with many of his employees. I mean, of course, you had the 9 old men.
Well, that, you had, of course, the Disney front of, like, everyone called him Uncle Walt or just Walt.
Yeah, but if you've read Disney biographies, then you know that whole front is kind of almost a way to control his employees. That's a whole other podcast.
It's like a psychological. The point is, like, he truly did connect with the boys. He did have a soft spot for the boys.
But I mean, I'm talking like, the relationship he had with the Sherman brothers was like one of the closest he ever formed with his employees. Like outside of like, I want to say maybe someone like.
You know what's interesting?
Ward Kimball was a big one because Ward Kimball
had the train.
And Owen Johnston kind of helped develop his love of trains.
But I want to mention
Disneyland.
Something very important. Now that you mention that, something really kind of dawned on me just this moment that I find very moving now. He said, if the boys do see Walt as a father figure, Walt never had any sons. So this is the closest thing ever. This is the closest thing he's ever had to sons in a way.
Right.
So I mean, maybe that's why he has
one of the reasons he was so fond of Ron Miller. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a reason he took to the boys also. Maybe in the back of his mind. I don't know verbatim, but maybe that's a reason.
No, yeah, that's definitely.
He saw the two boys with a passion for what they were doing, much like Walt did when he was just the kid from Missouri drawing a mouse.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Gave him their big start, and he kept them on since. And, yeah. Really moving when you think about it. Anyway, so right now,
the darker side of Richard Sherman.
Yes, how now Richard Sherman, he would have a temper.
I definitely relate to this. I am one with a pretty fierce temper myself, so.
Essentially, from the frustration frustration equals art. That's the equation between these two. From their frustrations, brothers, comes great work, and with that comes the frustrations of any job. So you're going to come home, you're going to be ticked off or complain. And Dick would have his temper at times, or at least it would be built up. Because again, he's a pretty easy-going guy, it would appear, but he's got his angry moments working his brother. And then Bob, he would always kind of want to leave, but then I love how the wife would diffuse Bob by having him write his novel, which is going to come into play later.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he'd work out his frustrations with writing and creativity, and Dick would do the same, but it would break pianos. I'm kidding.
Oh, and also a detail we forgot to mention is Robert Sherman's goal before songwriting was to write the great American novel.
Yes, it was.
Oh, God. I went through my great American novel phase myself, Blue Dragon 5. I can totally relate.
And while, well, technically I'm in my great American novel stage now, but that's on another matter. Anyway,
I still have all the outlines. It still might come about one day, but I digress.
I like how Carruthers just said that, the boys are there. The feuding starting to get to a point where it's reaching a breaking point. As much as that frustration equals creativity, there is going to definitely be a breaking point.
Oh yeah.
And now we're on the last animated film they did with Disney. I mean directly with Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
the Jungle Book, which had to be basically it was completely thrown out except for the pretty much I'm just narrating the documentary, but it was thrown out. It was thrown out except for bare necessities.
Right.
And they.
I Want to Be Like You is definitely, I'd say, one of their more popular songs as well. I mean,
oh, indeed.
I don't think I've ever been to a ska concert and not heard this song covered.
The great Louis Prima.
Like, ska fans are absolutely obsessed with this song, and rightfully so.
Oh, yeah. Now we're getting to a dark moment, by the way, after this Jungle Book talk here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're seeing some great songs. Essentially, yeah, the boys they pretty much they wrote all the songs from scratch, as the movie's taking a much lighter direction than the book. So the brothers basically saved us. Now I like how we kind of transitioned from the Snake song to kind of Bob's about to do something kind of I don't want to say like underhand or sneaky or anything, but he's starting to kind of drift away, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, as in. So Bob's been, I guess his depression may have been acting up or something. He points Bob he would be showing up, I guess, and basically been a point where he needs to get away from it all. He's profoundly depressed, as they're saying right now. Be profoundly depressed, and he was about to leave for a while, like he wouldn't know any direction in life, so maybe leave his family for God knows what until he came to his senses, but he's calling in on that favor mentioned earlier.
Oh, God.
He essentially said he'd asked his brother to do it. And I don't think Bob thought of the favor, but I think Dick remembered it somewhat. Point is, he needed him to go get the clothes from Bob's place so he could go away for a little while. Again, undetermined amount of time exactly, but go away. And it was a painful thing. And just I can imagine, I like what's not said. It's just you can imagine your head as being so powerful. You can imagine the screaming going on as he gets in there or something, just like the emotional turmoil as Dick Sherman's going in there getting clothes and stuff.
Absolutely.
And then I love it's so haunting. Basically saying then he returned a few days later, and no one talked about it again. And I love how Dick Sherman reacts here. Basically saying I tried to do something nice for my brother out of love, and there was a misunderstanding to do something nice for my brother, and this is painful stuff. I don't really want to talk about it anymore. He's really affected by what he views as mistakes in his life. Or at least misunderstandings in his life that have come to roost. And I like how it transitions to kind of an emotional moment from the other brother, driving on the front porch. Then we see intercut with pictures of the family here.
Mm-hmm.
And the two divided families now, because the idea is that was the breakup pretty much, at least between families.
Yeah, definitely.
At the very least between families, in that doing that act for his brother, but it's the Greek tragedy moment. It's it's the big dramatic moment.
Essentially, the low of lows in the story.
Oh yeah, it's the mystery. The mystery doesn't exactly get solved in this film exactly. It's more you make your own judgment calls. That's pretty much the reason we get.
Which is great. I love ambiguous endings. So.
Oh yeah, it is very. I was impressed by that. It didn't really dawn on me until after the movie that we didn't really get an answer to the mystery, but I'm not bothered by that.
Right.
I like how one brother mentions it and then the other brother sings it, because it's as if he's missing the other brother almost. Well, he is, but yeah. Anyway, so it's a sore subject, that whole the favor and the split.
Mm-hmm.
There, and it's gonna build.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're getting to starting to get to a really sad moment.
Definitely.
We're starting to get there. Anyway, The Happiest Millionaire was the last film Walt Disney lived to see, I believe. Or at least...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, out of his, yeah, for sure.
Live action, and Walt was sick, and a polo incident that basically got him to see a doctor, and he learned that he had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't doing good, and he hid it from people. This scene I'd love to see in a biography movie for Walt Disney, to be honest with you. And we get a nod to it. I do hold the belief firm that in Save Mr. Banks we get a nod to this moment. But it's coming up, by the way. So we're seeing Walt Disney right now. It's getting there. to talk over it so I don't cry.
Right.
Point is, Walt. Was Walt Disney? I imagine just the scene in my head, like Walt Disney composes himself and he walks over there to see the boys, like, as he would always do. Just walk. He walked down the hall as Richard Sherman's emoting now. He's saying, the last time we ever saw him, he walked down the office, peered his head, and basically said, "Keep up the good work, boys." Something he would never say because he was never that direct with his feelings.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of calls back right to the whole "that'll do."
Oh yeah, and Walt emoted with these guys. It was a rare thing. And he was really direct with them. Then they play his favorite song right here as they say goodbye to Walt.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Feed
the birds.
I did kind of make a joke about how every Disney documentary there's a point where Walt dies, and like a lot of different people had the same experience with Walt Disney the last time they saw him. It was very much, he was intentionally going around and finalizing all of his relationships. You know what I mean? Like, Mark Davis and Alice Davis have a very similar story about. Oh God, I think with Mark Davis and Alice Davis.
I'm sorry, one moment. Just seeing that Mickey Mouse crying in the sky, and then seeing Walt doing kind of the things he loved, like viewing with the camera, and then the most powerful thing, he's feeding the birds, like the song, like his favorite song.
Yeah.
That's nice. I'm sorry, you were saying about the other people Disney said goodbye to.
Well, it's just like I said, it's just very powerful to think of. On one of his last days on Earth, one of his last days before he died, he did go around and just specifically just close the door on all these different relationships.
Oh yeah, it's like
with Mark Davis, with the Mark Davis example, he said goodbye, Mark, and it would usually be see you next week, and that made an impression with Mark Davis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he knew something was up from that. So it's just really interesting to see how Walt had this weird way of...
Walt wanted to keep the world spinning. He wanted to keep things going and not depress anyone with the sad truth. He wanted to keep that facade up, and that was kind of the...
Yeah.
That's the tragedy. Again, just the fact, I like how Sherman's kind of thought that was unusual before he left, just him being very direct with him, saying, keep up the good work, boys. And just a subtle moment like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that really hits home. That's just such a sad goodbye. But a lovely, it was done so lovely in this documentary. It really hits you. It's a bullet of emotion that hits you. Anyway, so yeah, the brothers kind of had a sad departure from Disney because now with Walt gone, the guy that kept them around all these years, they pretty much... had no reason for staying around, so basically someone called and asked for time cards, and now they've left, and they're working on what's the movie?
Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah, Chitty Bang Bang.
Fantastic movie, of course.
Done by by the James Bond author, Ian Fleming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they had a really good experience with the director of the film, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
The old man.
Of course, working again with Dick Van Dyke.
I love old Dick Van Dyke. Every time he's about to mention the "I Have You Two" song or whatever, it's "Someone to Care For."
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking of the Family Guy version of that.
Yeah.
I have James Woods. Dun, dun.
Oh God.
I keep thinking of that version. That was Actually, to be honest with you, we're kind of hitting a lot of the sad moments here. A lot of tragedy in this film. Going from just the favor to goodbye Walt to now, we're going to be hit with more death.
Oh, God. Me and Adventure Blue just did an episode of 21st Century Music on Pink Floyd's Animals.
It'd be funny if there was a band just of Muppet animals, just like, animals from the Muppets.
Oh, God. It would be really interesting. I would totally be interested, and I usually hate cover bands, but I'd be interested in a band that just specifically took Sherman Brothers songs and reimagined them.
It could be interesting. Oh yeah, so this is interesting. It's should have mentioned this earlier, but yeah, when Bob Sherman was in World War II and he got shot, another thing he was there for, if it was after he got medical treatment or not, I'm not quite sure, but regardless, he was there when they went into the one of the concentration camps, the Dachau prison camp.
Oh.
And it was a horrifying sight that stuck to him to this day, and it's something he kind of a reason he paints nowadays.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
Oh, it's just I love it. This scene too. He's just mentioning him and his squad walking through the thing, just all the horror he's seeing. You can feel it. You can just feel it, and just seeing the footage behind him playing. It's not even that graphic. Just seeing the walk through that place, just the prisoner garb. That's just so much.
Now, just a little bit of
and the incinerator
backstory with us. Mandy Dean Reith, he actually just got back from a trip to Europe. And he made some Facebook posts talking about how just visiting the sites of the concentration camp had a profound impact on him. Like, it was like one of the most heavy emotional moments of his life. So it's like, that goes to say something because, concentration camps are still just, of course, they pack a wall up, even when it's just stone and mortar. But when it's real people inside, it's like, I can't even imagine, that must cast a dark shadow over someone.
Just seeing a shot of that incinerator really just sends a chill up your spine.
Right. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh.
Anyway, yeah, seeing some Bob Sherman art here, and just the...
I like how we go back to the artistry of him after the intro.
Yeah, and he says they kind of alleviate the pain of the memories and so forth, and he paints. So really the attention, and Richard Sherman, he mentioned Bob never talked about that sort of stuff because it really bothered him.
Right.
A lot of tragedy with this guy, with the two of them.
Oh yeah.
Or Bob Sherman. I assume the bullet wound was kind of the part of the reason he's a little hunched over.
Yeah.
Yeah, just you can kind of read the experience on this guy and just kind of how it's physically impacted him as it has emotionally.
Oh yeah.
Maybe one could argue it's kind of chicken or the egg almost type thing, but like a lot of stuff in Bob's past really it would have been just brotherly rivalry, but it evolved to more distancing himself from his brother because of the horror he's faced in his early youth.
Well, yeah, of course we have that great line right at the beginning, where his experiences in the war aged him 10 years, pretty much.
Oh, yeah. I like how Angel Lenz very intelligently points out, well, it must have been heck for him, making light of these horrible memories.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's funny. It's like I feel like a lot of times in these kind of situations where some of the most happy, uplifting, memorable, be it music, comedy, whatever, come from people who have very dark backgrounds. I mean, depressed comedians, it's almost kind of a stereotype at this point, the depressed comedian, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I like how Richard Sherman is mentioning, his father's words, being you stay together as a team, you're strong. If you keep saying, I did this, you did this, you're going to be really weak and divide yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Despite the fact that the brothers have split, they do remember themselves as the two. So they still stayed strong when they were together, and when divided, obviously they were weak, but when together they were strong, and they remember themselves finally as together. So this is where they did draw their strength from.
Oh yeah.
Now we're on Charlotte's Web. Big hit from what I hear with the kids.
Yeah, the only thing I really remember about Charlotte's Web is the big sad moment right at the end.
Do kids still like Charlotte's Web?
Well, there was that the recent one, and that was a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
So.
I remember Charlotte's Web was a huge thing.
Right.
I don't think that's the case anymore.
At least not in animation. I don't know. Like I said, there was a Dakota Fanning movie.
Yeah.
and that was a big box office hit. But then again, not really many people talk about it. So
this is a sad moment here. I think it's really crushing to me is again because of that favor mentioned earlier. The families have kind of split right now, and so it's so sad that after the parents have passed, they're getting up there in age. The parents have passed away, but they have to have like 2 separate funerals.
Mm-hmm. Right,
They
right.
have to visit them in shifts. It's so sad. Like even at the parents' funeral, they're still divided.
That's incredibly depressing to think about.
That's sad. And then, of course, this is going to be followed by a wonderful quote. And after a wonderful quote, we're going to have a really depressing moment. But yeah, it's a sad thing when you. Sad thing, these 2 guys, they've done so much magic, yet they all met. These 2 guys together made such magic, yet in real life, it's like we're seeing behind the curtain now. Now behind the scenes, they have these public appearances where they're together, and it seems like all is well, but really things aren't well. We just see the fact that they couldn't even go to their parents' funeral together.
And how many times is that the case with famous people and famous artists and whatnot, where it's like you see this footage, it's like my mind instantly gets transported to the Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow footage that we saw earlier. And it's like just they look so happy there, but you can still make out the darkness behind Bob's eyes and whatnot.
I can just imagine, like, if there were a biopic of this story, if there were, you can imagine, like, you see the other angle of that, like, walking away from that. You see the smiles drift away as they're walking away.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So basically, as the minute they turn away, they're starting to get back into, like, kind of like a separate look, and maybe they both turn their heads the other way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, right.
Anyway, so I like, it's not happened yet, but I love seeing them with the famous people they've met, like Charles Schultz.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Snoopy Come Home. Seeing their career post Disney and all the films they've done music for, written songs for. I mean.
Oh God, Cabbage Patch.
Oh God, Cabbage Patch.
Oh, Little Nemo. Oh, great.
Yeah, Little Nemo. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Passion project. Anyway, so I don't know if I'm gonna miss it or not, but I'll mention it now. I love A.J. Carruthers' quote coming up. He says that Bob Sherman's a romantic and Dick Sherman's a sentimentalist.
Uh-huh.
And it goes into like some great author or someone basically had a definition for that. Romantic is someone who wants things to change desperately. So you can be together with someone usually.
Sure.
Or so something can go better for you. And the sentimentalist wishes that things didn't change, and it says so much about the brothers, because Dick just wants things to be the way they were back when they were kids, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Or back when things were great and rosy, before, I guess presumably in terms of the story, before that split, before that fateful paying off of that favor. Or going further, maybe the fact that he was asked to do that favor for him back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And just Bob just wanting to move on with things, move on from the past. He wants to get over the tragedy in his life. And so, whether or not that's just he wants to get away from his brother, you be the judge of that. But regardless, he wants things to change.
I think it's really less about when you get away from his brother and just when you get away from show business in general. I mean, because it's clear that that Walt had an effect on him, but I don't know, I imagine in general, a guy like that who's going through such inner turmoil is just, hold on, I'm distracted by footage of Six Flags.
Yeah, this is John, I keep forgetting what this movie is, but John Lance is like a movie where it takes place in an amusement park. It's a parody of Disney, and this is great, I love this too, by the way.
I'm pretty sure this is Six Flags Great America.
Yeah. That's usually where they shoot those. Like really? I believe National Lampoon's is also at Six Flags.
National Lampoon's is Magic Mountain.
Oh, sorry.
I've been on that coaster.
I love this moment I love Bob Sherman's cameo in John Lasseter's film, where he basically says, "Is there?" And I love how he's next to famous people too. I love how he's next to Ray Harryhausen.
Oh,
I love that. Ray Harryhausen, a stop motion master, along with Bob Sherman. It's an odd pairing, but it's awesome. Basically saying, "Something happened to him. Is there a TV? Like something bad happened to him. Is there a TV?" And then he just says, with great glee, he said to John Lasseter that Richard Sherman had to be cut out of the film. Basically, what did you think of the film? I liked it, but I liked even more how you cut Dick out of the movie.
Oh God.
That's great. And kind of the last mediator between the brothers is passing away.
Mm.
And now he's saying the romantic quote here and the sentimentalist quote. I think that's appropriate because if I'm right, I believe the other big dramatic blow is about to happen after. It's F. Scott Fitzgerald had the quote. And after A.J. Gross quoting quote. Anyway, so before the big dramatic, it's appropriate to give the big dramatic moment hits in regards to Bob kind of hoping things will change.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's about to happen, he's going to wish would not change, I guess. Or at least he would hope against hopes this bad thing that happens did not happen.
Right, right.
Again, Bob Sherman regards he's had some bad things in life that I guess he hopes that he could have changed, or things could change. Or whatever could have changed for the better. Well, I guess it's about to happen after we talk about Tigger movie here.
Oh.
You know, I'm not thrilled by Kenny Loggins here.
He kind of comes out of nowhere.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, the song he's singing, I'm not crazy about it.
Oh, yeah, right.
No, it doesn't fit Winnie the Pooh for me. It's not
He breaks out the guitar.
I like how he randomly has a guitar. That still was funny.
Right. Might I say, like, have you seen the new Winnie the Pooh?
No, I haven't.
Oh man! Oh, you really should. That's a gem. But the songs in that movie, I don't think were done by Sherman Brothers. I really no.
Well, obviously they weren't. Tiki, obviously they weren't done by Sherman Brothers.
Right. Well, I'm saying like not done by Richard Sherman, but they feel like Sherman Brothers songs. Like, a lot like much more than the ones in the Tigger movie or whatever.
I love this. I love them getting I love this moment. It's before the tragedy strikes. You have this uplifting moment of the two of them kind of being together and being, at least seemingly on the surface, everything seems well. It's them getting the handprints in there. Mm-hmm. It's a really nice moment. So it's a good song playing too. I love seeing this Disney a lot, and then we see the handprints there of the two of them together. It's like when they work together. It's like it's like the way they wish the way the world would be, you know.
Right.
Now we're being hit with some harsh reality here. Joyce Sherman. Actually, wait. Yeah, that is Joyce Sherman, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Joyce Sherman. Yeah, Joyce Sherman. I don't know if the daughter was named Joyce too or not. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, so Joyce Sherman, the mother.
Oh.
She was stricken with cancer and again, great love of Bob's life. Again, she was the mediator. She basically was kind of the reason she calmed the husband and kind of kept the group together. She was a very pivotal role. She's playing a trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't let on she had cancer either. So kind of a Walt parallel, if you will, kind of just protecting people from the tragedy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And, I love how we just pan into the empty bed.
Aww. I
love that. Just so, and the S that's ingrained on the bedpost too.
Oh man.
Just the fact Joyce Sherman, it sounds romantic too. Just mentioning Bob's romantic. Just the fact that he would hope against hopes that this didn't happen, and he was so grief-stricken by the loss of her. And I love how the daughter says that he stayed with her. Until her time.
Right, right.
And he stayed with her the whole way, and then Bob just so sorrowfully saying, "I became a widower. I saw it change my whole life." Oh boy. And just the idea that Bob Sherman, he could not stand to be there because there was so much pain associated with that place because of his wife passing. He had to move to London.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm moving to England because I can't stay here. Which is understandable, you know.
Oh yeah, certainly, certainly. I mean, after all the other stuff that's happened to him. And so this is really interesting because this is where the whole thing I mentioned on the commentary came into play, where Richard Sherman's like, Bob's not around. Because I think he did mention, like, yeah, Bob's in London.
Yeah.
So this is, like, right around the time of that commentary, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, and this is nice. He donated paintings, so, and she gets a dedication in there
Uh-huh.
to his wife, so that's nice. Yeah. It's a tragic thing to lose a loved one, let alone the love of your life. You gotta. I don't want to just cheapen it by making this comparison, but it's kind of like a Carl and Ellie type thing. Just.
Yeah.
It's I think it's as emotional as that, at least. So even though we know pretty much nothing about either spouse aside from just visual imagery.
Right.
Anyway. So, I love this. Now, this is brilliant because we see where the brothers are separately, and I like that. As you mentioned, with on the commentary of Mary Poppins, how they're kind of like Bob's not around anymore, or Bob's not here. We see what the two of them are doing separately, and how kind of it sounds almost sad to me. Just Richard Sherman singing alone
there's
here.
a novel. I forgot about that.
You forgot? But,
oh my god.
Yeah, is it just me, or is that the small world after all sound depressing to you?
What?
When he sings "It's Small World After All" alone, does it sound depressing to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of supposed to be the editing intent. Yeah.
But this moment really melts your heart here. Oh, this is wonderful. After we see the Moose novel, he jokes he never wrote that novel, but he did write that novel. Like the poem little card statement he reads here, and just watching him read this and emoting to it, just for his 50th birthday card, the little 50th birthday poem, and it basically ends with the lyrics to "It's a Small World."
Man, look at Richard Sherman just get so emotional in this moment. Oh,
he
God.
can barely finish saying it. It's rooted in the suns of yesterday. Oh, God.
Oh. This document, it's got a lot of moments like that, man, where it's like these two men are just on the verge of tears.
I'll tell you, that's the moment. Oh, and then just seeing the image songwriters written on there.
Oh.
Actually, the brothers just kind of said what we just said. It's a Greek tragedy. I mean, the cousins. Sorry. Oh, yeah. I love how this ending works, too, by the way.
Yeah.
So now we've gotten through the tragedy with some heartwarming bits here and there, with the great heartwarming bit at the end of him reading the poem. And so we do see there's a bit of hope there. They're both kind of needing each other at this point in their life. A little less on Bob Sherman's side because he wrote his novel, but he's a lonely guy.
Mm.
Anyway, so at the beginning, the intent of our filmmakers here was to I should have mentioned this earlier. The Sherman cousins' intent of making this film, and I like how they had a mission. I love how they have a mission. I love how it pays off here.
That definitely leads to a lot of the best documentaries. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So our guys, basically, their intent is to try to get the brothers together. Now that they've learned why they've kind of separated, they're trying to get them together at the premiere here. 2006 premiere, it appeared to be, I think.
Oh, this is great. Yeah.
I love the meeting here of the brothers. After all these years separated, this time separated, and a lot of love between the families, even though they've been divided, but still, just the brothers who kept apart of this entire film we're now synced up with the quote unquote present. Separated this whole time during the film, are about to reunite, about to meet each other again. Just Rich Sherman saying, "Hey, bro, how you doing, kid?" I love the music too. Also, by the way, the music that's playing here, very important. It's Bitter Pill to Take from Save Mr. Banks.
Oh,
remember?
Okay, right.
I love how it plays. You're just seeing the reactions of Bob Sherman. Bob Sherman can't really react because he doesn't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
That really hit me. That things aren't working out.
Oh man.
But the idea, it's so interesting that our directors, they failed their mission.
Yeah.
It is a bitter pill to take. I mean, I love the quotes that the brothers say here. They say, to close this thing out, they say, well, in real life, things don't work out like a Sherman Brothers musical might, or Sherman Brothers song might, but somewhere in their songs, they do meet.
Mm-hmm.
That's so moving to me.
Oh, man.
Real life doesn't always work out like it does in the movies, but, emotionally that these guys have met. They always do meet. You can always just hear the connection because they have to be connected in some way to write those wonderful songs.
Of course, to write the most iconic songs in the catalog of modern music.
Things interesting about Bob Sherman. Oh, by the way, also I love that we've come full circle here with one's just they're divided, but they're doing what they loved and doing it at the beginning, and now they're doing it at the end. Now Bob Sherman's painting because of that pain he has in his background, which now we know more about. Again, full circle. Richard Sherman's playing the piano, and we're going through all the pictures and just Bill, just Dick Sherman. He's playing the piano, a little more sorrow behind it now, and just kind of hope for the better. And now Bob Sherman's just painting, kind of. But I love how Bob Sherman has the last words in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Sherman's last words are no regrets. He has no regrets for what's happened.
Oh, that's great.
Like, regardless, at the end of the day, these two guys, they had a wonderful lifetime together. They, when they worked together, they wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. At least Bob wouldn't.
Definitely.
Yeah. There are regrets here and there, but at the end of the day, you kind of want the life you have, no matter what.
All right, so just going through some credits here at the end.
And now we're, again, directed by the Sherman cousins, Jeffrey and Greg.
I assume this is an Al Sherman song?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like how they play stuff during the credits here, like little clips on the left side.
Oh.
And that's just, I love how it ended up full circle like that. They were divided, we didn't quite know the reason, now we fully know the reason, and they're doing their own things, but they still have that connection between the two of them.
Oh, it's great. It's really touching, and yeah, I mean, it really is one of the things.
It's an unconventional ending. It's an unconventional ending.
Mm-hmm.
Poor A.J. Carruthers. But,
yeah, very sad.
I love the Lindbergh song. The Lindbergh song reminds me so much of Charles Muntz. It always reminds me of Adventurers Out There. Adventurers.
Oh, I totally see it. Oh, God. Oh, that's great. Oh, God.
And Will Smith makes appearance. I think he actually might be the only song that's not sung by. No, never mind. It's written by it, so it counts.
Yeah.
And I love how they're trying to say the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and I love how John Lasseter, my guy, he can say it backwards. And just, I love how John Lasseter, it just shows you the impact that John Lasseter can say it backwards. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The great Sam Goldwyn Jr. there.
Mm-hmm.
Another great talent. And again, you're showing the impact right here of it's playing on a spaceship pretty much, on a rocket. Playing on a rocket.
Yeah, it's like, for God's sakes.
So, actually, I think this is the show that Buzz Lightyear was on, if I'm correct.
Oh, really?
It said Shuttle Discovery. I know it was on a Discovery show that Buzz was launched. Not quite sure. I mean, not quite sure when, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it should sync up by the time of this thing's released, but I don't know exactly. I love it. This is like the longest listing of songs ever, because usually there's not many listings of the songs.
Well, yeah, but with this, it's just, oh my God, and just look at them all.
I like how, I think it's past, I'm not quite sure, because they might be on the Laughing song right now.
Mm-hmm.
But before the Laughing song, they played this song that was about teamwork.
Yeah,
yeah. I like that. It was like fitting for the film that when they worked together, they did accomplish great things.
Mr. Banks is discharged.
Actually, no, they're talking about it right now. It's like, yes, teamwork can make a dream work.
Yeah.
If you got the will to win. So yeah, that teamwork did indeed make that dream work when they were together.
Now,
is that good?
Does Richard Sherman ever mention now is the time in this documentary?
Now is the time?
Now is the time is what Richard Sherman considers to be the worst song they ever wrote.
No, I don't think they mentioned it.
It's basically just when General Electric dropped sponsorship from Carousel of Progress, they were asked to come up with another song to support the next sponsor. I forget who the next sponsor was, but they just came out with this like really terrible song that was like promoting like I don't know. It's
Anyway,
funny. Richard Sherman has clear resentment towards that song in interviews.
Oh, something I forgot to mention that was kind of important. Earlier on, there was a moment I forget which scene it was exactly. I don't know if it was the first part of the favor, but
Right.
a moment where Bob Sherman is basically asked something. Again, it's kind of that little bit of unreliable source, if you will, where Richard Sherman he would have forgotten something, or I believe he's holding something back that he does remember. He just doesn't want to mention it.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd have moments here and there where he just says, "I don't want to talk about this," or he'd just be silent. But still, I get a big sense that he does indeed have something to say. He's just holding it back because he doesn't want to talk about it. That's an impressive thing. So you don't really see in a documentary all that much.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like the lack of.
And I like how the boys are kind of
This
talking.
documentary is like one of the strongest parts in a way.
And this makes it all worthwhile. That last image we get of the documentary of the two boys with their arms around each other in 2000.
Yeah, for sure.
So it doesn't end on a downbeat exactly. So it does end with a little bit of uplifting. Yes, you know,
And
they
also,
got together.
it literally ends with laughter. So very
Yes.
fitting.
Yeah, they shared. I mean, while they were different and divided, they did share laughs together. And at the end of this life, that's all you can really ask for: sharing some laughs.
Oh yeah.
And just seeing those two guys, they did meet at least one more time before Bob's passing, and just reconciled somewhat. Just even as just like putting the arm around him in the photograph.
Right.
Getting awards for getting some arts medals from the White House. Some fine arts medals from White House. Overall, one last thing I want to mention here.
Sure.
Well, maybe I'll say probably a closing remark, but what should we say next? After the credits are done.
Well, I don't know. I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, it's just a great documentary. Like you said, just a lot of story arcs get paid off. Just really great use of music and editing. Just I highly encourage any fan of Disney and this '60s time period that the Sherman Brothers worked on in general to check this documentary out for sure. It's
the best documentary you can have. I think when a documentary is truly successful, it feels like a story that's being told, and it feels like a movie. Like it's a documentary film, so it's not just recounting the events. It's making those events really count and resonate with people. That's when you have a successful documentary, and this does it in spades. It's a real shame I couldn't hear the cousins talk about this one, because that would have been interesting to see how they reacted to. Like, could have been like
that is kind of a little bit of a missing piece to it, isn't it?
Could have been a documentary within a documentary, to be honest with you. Just those two.
Right.
Or some more behind the scenes aside from some additional interviews.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But overall, I deeply enjoyed this film. It was very great. Again, if it's on, or it doesn't really come on anymore, but when it was on, my eyes were just glued to it, and I find myself watching it now. They have it on DVD. And my last statement, I guess, would be for this thing would be together these two brothers. They worked on 50 films, and I'm pretty much reading the tagline, but it's very true. These are true facts here. The two brothers came together. They worked on 50 films, and they 1,000 songs. 1,000 songs, all of them great in their own way, all of them at least.
Except for Now Is the Time.
Well, it's their opinion.
Oh, God.
I'm sure someone in this world remembers that song. Maybe someone likes it.
I know it's not Adventure Blue, dude.
Point is, these guys, they've made an impact in the culture in ways that not all of us can say. They're Walt's boys. They're our boys. They're the boys you go to for the perfect song.
They, like I said, they pretty much just owned your childhood with their soundtrack. I mean, they are the soundtrack to your childhood. It's like and I don't think any other artist can claim that as much as they can.
I can just hear a wonderful story just being said just by, without even the lyrics, just to the song "Feed the Birds." You communicate so much just with that.
Oh, absolutely.
You get, like, that's what wrapped me into this movie. Just hearing that mysterious tone from that song has intrigued me, and that just what sold me on this movie. And hearing all their songs really informed me on these guys. You got a great story to tell. And last thing to mention about this thing, watching this documentary before watching Save Mr. Banks will give you so much dimension with their characters.
Sure. Yeah, we did talk about that in the Save Mr. Banks commentary a lot.
Yeah, it'll give you so much more to go into. That's what I did with Save Mr. Banks, pretty much. I saw for the most part of this. Then after Save Mr. Banks, I bought the movie, so I watched the full thing from the beginning.
Mm.
And it gives you so much more. It makes you want to watch Save Mr. Banks also.
It really does. Yeah.
It's such a rich history. It's such a rich and wondrous and magic. This film just feels so magical. It's like the ultimate.
And incredibly emotional and just straight up tragic in spots.
It fits perfectly, and this one could pretty much be on a T-shirt for us. It's pretty much that Disney philosophy, and Disney has a presence in this film big time. It's for every laugh there should be a tear.
Oh yeah.
There are funny moments, and overall, again, much like Up, this film, the biggest strength this film has is that it shows a life. It doesn't pull any punches. It shows a life. There are those emotional moments. It tells a life in full. It edits in an exquisite way, yes, but it tells a life. There are no actors. There are no performances. There is truth that is shown through the way the brothers would have wanted it to be seen, through a way that just is magically musical, that entertains everyone, makes them cry when they need to, makes them exuberant when they want, makes them want to fly a kite even.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said.
Again, thousand magical moments. As Joe Meister would put it, moments, and moments of just lyrical musical wonder, and 50 films, and in the end of the day, it's two brothers, or just put simply in two words, the boys.
Yeah, indeed. All right, guys. So thanks for joining us on this commentary. Hopefully we were able to provide some insight, since I know this is probably the commentary that we've done that fewest people actually physically have access to. So wish the thing was on YouTube or something, but seek it out if you're interested at all. Obviously, me and Blue Dragon 5 highly recommend it.
Well, you can rent it and or buy it on YouTube, so you can watch it on there.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool.
So regardless, folks, buy this movie or watch it somehow. It was a really great movie. You won't be wasting, and you can watch this commentary along with it, so you get a commentary with it regardless. Just be sure to just watch this thing if you. We talked about it in depth, and we try to be as detailed as we could, but still, we're not doing it just. You got to watch this thing. Guys.
Yeah, absolutely, because it just all comes down to the ending. It's like, short of just us sitting here, literally like describing like beat by beat. Which we kind of did.
You gotta see this thing for yourself. You gotta see the brothers take those pauses. You gotta watch that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You gotta hear that. You gotta hear the Feed the Birds music without the lyrics. It'll move you, man. Just listen to that. You gotta watch it.
All right, so thank you guys for watching, and we will see you later.
Feed the birds, people.
Indeed.